Good evening and welcome to Biz First in Focus. I have a guest this evening who has flown to Sri Lanka, especially from India. He is the Commercial Director of Air India, Mr. Pankaj Srivastava. A very good evening and welcome to Biz First in Focus. Pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you so much.
Starting off, you have worked with Air India for nearly 32 years. Your experience, share with us.
Oh, that will take more than a couple of hours in your show.
Very short, very briefly.
But yes, it started off in the year 1983, where I joined in as a management trainee in the erstwhile company called Indian Airlines. And then moved up the ladder. In 2007, when the two airlines, that is Indian Airlines and Air India, merged together, the new Air India was formed. And then we are in Air India from then on. And yes, I have been the commercial director for now almost a year and a half. In the 32 years of my journey, had taken very different assignments. I had been at the airport in the first 8 to 10 years. Then I was manager in Goa. I started the Indian Airlines operations in the Gulf. And then I was the staff officer, the executive assistant to the chairman and managing director in Delhi for 5 years. And the last assignment was general manager marketing in the corporate office.
1.5 years, you've been the commercial director of Air India. How has this stint been for you?
Very challenging, extremely challenging, because when I became the commercial director, that's a time when the competition, not only in India, but also from international, was ever increasing. We had the challenge from outside, in the sense like the carriers from all around the country, world, were bringing in additional capacities, whereas our own airlines in the country was growing. New entrants started coming in. So there was always a challenge in filling up the capacities.
1986, if I may recollect, the Patna air crash gave a lot of challenging experience as far as the airline was concerned, and you were part of the organization in this time frame. What were the challenges like at that time? And 2013, you were the commercial director. What did you take from that experience?
I was personally involved in the rescue operation of the Patna air crash. We were in fact in Mumbai at that time when the news poured in about the crash, and we immediately flew into Patna. And well, that was one unfortunate day for us, where we lost a few of our colleagues and number of passengers. The challenge which was to actually inculcate the positive perception of the company with the passengers, because immediately after the crash, suddenly you will find that there are talks about whether it's safe to fly airlines, whether it's safe to take airlines journey. But yes, very successfully, we have been able to change that perception. Today, we are one of the safest airlines in India.
In Srinagar yesterday, there was an incident where the authorities had to step in for 2 hours to remove the plane, which has come to rest in the middle of the airport. It was only runway. There was an incident yesterday.
Yes. You see, that kind of incident can happen with any airlines. A tire burst is a very common phenomenon. At the time of landing, one of the tire gets burst, and then the full emergency is declared. But yes, I'm very happy that all the passengers were evacuated in a matter of seconds, and no one was injured, and there was no casualty at all.
Now, understanding your visit to Sri Lanka, it is to introduce a new flight plan by Air India. Could you please elaborate on this?
Well, very happy to say that we introduced a new link between the two capital cities, that is Delhi and Colombo. We always felt that there is a need to build in on the capacity. Till now, it was only Sri Lankan Airlines who was operating between the two cities, and we had our code mounted on Sri Lankan flights. But it was a good beginning for us as far as coming back to Sri Lanka is concerned, because we used to operate to Colombo from Mumbai a few years back. and then we withdrew our operation. This time we came with a flight from Delhi, and largely because we have created Delhi as our main hub, where we operate to almost all the destinations in India and various destinations in Europe, US, Far East and Middle East. And this flight has been scheduled in such a way that it would give connection to the passengers who are traveling from Colombo to the whole of Europe within 2 hours of their arrival into Delhi. And vice versa, when they come back from Europe, within 2 hours they will be able to connect to Colombo flight. So the wait has been minimized, and I am sure with this connection, the passengers from this island country would have to spend a minimum lapse time in order to reach their destination.
This was a pledge made by your Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his visit to Sri Lanka regarding direct flights between Delhi and Colombo. What are the aspirations for the future?
First of all, I'm very happy that we were able to operationalize our flight into Colombo within the time frame what our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi had actually left. Aspirations are that we are very, very confident that this route is going to be a good route for us, and if the traffic actually develops to the extent we want, then probably in a year's time we will be mounting a 787 Dreamliner operation into Colombo.
How many flights a week?
Oh, everyday flight, a daily flight.
A daily flight. Considering Sri Lanka was ranked as the 4th largest generator of tourists to India, would you say that more direct flight plans into Sri Lanka may be expected in the near future, at least 2 flights a day?
Yeah, we already have a double daily now from Chennai to Colombo, and we'll also have a daily flight now from Delhi to Colombo. Yes, Sri Lanka is the 4th largest producer for tourism in India and from the subcontinent. And we also understand that India is the largest contributor for tourism in this country. Almost 17% of the tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka are from India. So going by the sheer strength of this market, yes, we along with our subsidiary company Air India Express would see some increased operations in future.
Mr. Srivastava, with regard to the expansion of the airline industry, what steps have Air India taken to expand its horizons in terms of getting new aircrafts to your fleet?
I wanted you to ask that question, so I'm happy that you did. We have in our fleet acquired one of the latest aircraft in the world. We have Boeing 787 Dreamliners now flying for us. We had ordered 27 of them, of which 20 have already been delivered to us. The 21st is coming in July, and the rest 6 will join us later. This Dreamliner is one of the best aircraft I have ever flown in terms of sheer space, in terms of sheer technology, in terms of the pressurization level what we maintain on this aircraft. Flying is actually a great fun. The effect of flying on the body, I must say, gets minimized if you fly a Dreamliner. We in Air India have been very successfully been able to convert most of our flying into Europe on Dreamliner non-stops. So we have the whole of Europe, the whole of Far East, the whole of Southeast is on a Dreamliner now. Even Australia we go non-stop on a Dreamliner. And as far as the international network is concerned, you asked me a question. We have grown quite rapidly on the international side. In the last 16, 17 months, we have introduced 7 destinations. We started flying into Birmingham, where we go daily now. We started flying to Rome and Milan. We started flying to Melbourne and Sydney. And we have also started flying to Moscow. And the latest being Colombo, which is from yesterday. So in a span of just 16 months, we were able to connect as many as 7 cities, and that's a very rapid expansion on the international front.
During the last 2 years, if I may put it this way, has been deemed as bad years for the airline industry. You saw MS370 disappearing from the radar. You saw another Malaysian airliner crashing over Russia, and then you saw Air Asia also having one of the worst tragedies ever in the history of the airline industry. Does this ring a bell to the airline industry? Safety measures, precautions that need to be taken?
Of course. I think what happened to Malaysian Airlines was one of the most unfortunate things to happen. I can understand an aircraft getting crashed for some reasons, but I cannot just understand how an aircraft, commercial airline, can be shot down.
And even disappearing from the radar.
No, I mean the one which happened about Russia.
In Russia.
Yeah. So, yes, the year 2015 was not a very good year as far as the aircraft safety was concerned. We saw 4 major losses. But that has given rise for all the airlines in the world, not only the airlines, but the regulatory bodies around the world, to look at the safety standards, the security norms, a little more intrinsically, and see that whatever best needs to be done for enhancing the safety and security of passengers should be the paramount job of each airlines.
Air India is a state-owned organization or an institute. Do you think the Indian government has been able to seize its full potential, in particular in the aviation industry?
Well, I must say that the civil aviation authorities in India, the government of India, has been extremely liberal in opening up the civil aviation sector. We saw India is already an open sky as far as cargo is concerned. We have seen in the past few years the skies have been liberalized a lot, and because of that we see more and more international carriers mounting their operations. And as many as today in India, you have as many as about 22 to 24 points of call where foreign airlines can come directly and operate from those cities. So there's a whole lot of opportunities being exploited there. So I see a very, very liberal regime at the moment.
With regard to state-owned carriers, let's take Mahindra Lanka for an example, which is a loss-making institute. I am aware that even Air India has been making losses year on year during the last couple of years as well. Can the airline industry survive under these circumstances, especially national carriers?
See, I would say that very few airlines in the world are making profits. Most of the airlines worldwide are making losses, and that's largely because the cost of operation has actually gone up hugely. I would talk about Air India. In Air India, there are 2 major heads under which our cost is proportioned. One is the fuel, which forms roughly about 40% of the operating costs. And the other is our payments in terms of dollars, because any aircraft purchases, any spares purchases, the payments are done in dollars. So what happened is that the weakening of Indian rupee on the one hand, where the dollar is getting stronger and stronger day by day, and on the other hand, the fuel prices saw huge increases. It's only the last 6 months that we see easing out of the fuel prices. And believe you me, most of the airlines have started making operating profits, and so as we. The year 14-15, we saw roughly about 2,600 crores of operating surpluses in Air India.
With regard to customer service, how imperative is this or paramount is this to Air India?
Extremely. I think no airlines in the world can survive without keeping in mind the
customer services, right? Now, the customer expectation from an airlines is ever changing. So more and more innovations each airlines is trying to bring in. And you would be surprised that today passengers have got a choice of a flying villa, right? Some of the airlines have started flying villa to be given to the passengers, right? On the other hand, some provide massage services on board. So the expectation of the passenger is ever increasing, ever changing. And it's very difficult for airlines to keep, racing with each other. But yes, what the basic need of a passenger is that they should be given safe, efficient, professional services which can take them from point A to point B. And as long as you are able to deliver these basic things efficiently, effectively, timely, I think the passenger is more than happy. Rest are gimmicks.
Where do you position Air India in the global market?
We are a small player. When it comes to global market, we are a very small player. But yes, we are one of the oldest, right? And we have a network which covers almost all the continents. We have every day 3 flights into America. We have 7 destinations in Europe which we connect every day. We have to the Far East 2 destinations in Japan, Tokyo and Osaka. We also operate to Shanghai and Seoul. We have a daily operation to Hong Kong, Singapore. Singapore and Bangkok, of course, we connect double dailies, one from Bombay and one from Delhi. We go to Australia, Melbourne and Sydney non-stops. So we have by and far largely covered the continent with our own operation. But I am very happy to inform you that Air India is now part of a global alliance, the biggest alliance in the world, which is the Star Alliance. We became part of the Star Alliance from 14th of July 2014. And with the help of our partners, we have been able to connect roughly about 193 countries. And we have about 18,000 flights of all the member airlines a day, and roughly about 2,000 airports in the world where the presence of Star Alliance is. And the beauty of this alliance is that a passenger can fly. If suppose you are in Kandy and you have an airport in Kandy and you want to fly to a small little town in US called Cincinnati, you can use Star Alliance network right from Colombo to Delhi to New York to Cincinnati. And all along, you don't have to take care of your baggage, you don't take care of your check-ins, the lounges will be provided. So it's a very seamless way of travel across the continents. And that's a very, very big thing for a passenger. You can earn and burn miles on each other. And with the Star Alliance, we also have code shares. So a passenger who is using Air India can actually fly on an Air India ticket right up to his destination with the help of the code share.
Some say Air India has lost track with its domestic flights. Agreed or disagreed?
I totally disagree. I totally disagree. We never lost track of domestic. Domestic is the mainstay for us, right? Yes, there is a very different segments today operating in India on the domestic routes. On the one hand, we have the low-cost operation. On the other hand, we have full-service carriers. That's a fact that in the last 4 years, the low-cost segment has been growing exponentially, whereas the full-service carriers are growing, but not to the same proportion as the low-cost.
You all have 21% of the stake in terms of the domestic market in India.
See, it depends. Your market share largely depends on what capacity you put in the market, right? So, as compared to what capacity Air India has pumped in the domestic market, our market share is more than the capacity share. That means we get more than the fair share of the market, right? So, and why I'm saying this, because there is a very separate segment who would like to fly on the full service carrier only, right? Because that gives them the ability to change the tickets, that gives them the ability or not a botheration of paying for everything each time when they want something, like in low-cost carrier. So there are two different markets, and both of us are very happy operating in those markets.
What is the benchmark for Air India?
Benchmark for Air India is that we would like to regain our the perception what we used to have once upon a time. People used to benchmark Air India's first class and would like to match up their first class with Air India's first class. So if we cannot reach that level, but at least we would like to be seen as a major player in all the markets.
Do you compare your airline with any other airline in the global market?
In terms of size?
In terms of size, in terms of customer care, in terms of safety, in terms of professionalism, in terms of the airports?
See, today no airlines can say that I am less professional than the other. No airlines can say that I am less safe than the other. So, and all the airlines are today governed by the regulatory bodies. And the safety standards are being set by the ICAO. And those standards are pumped into the airlines by the regulatory bodies we have. So most of the airlines who are operating today are operating in the same environment. So very difficult to say that I would be less safe than the other. I would say that I am safest. And so as the other airlines, they will say the safest. But in terms of size, yes, we are of the size of, say, South African Airways. We can compare ourselves almost the same size. And New Zealand is more or less the same size in terms of market penetration, but in terms of number of aircraft, probably they are much less than us. Yeah.
How many aircraft does Air India have?
Oh, today we have in our system roughly about 100 aircraft.
2016, where do you see yourself?
2016, we see our international network to be stabilizing with at least 4 more international destinations coming in, right? And we expect that, yes, we should be, out of India, be the first choice carrier when it comes to going to Europe or to the US and to the Far East.
Why must Sri Lankan go to its travel agent, his or her travel agent, and say, I want to go to Delhi, I want to buy a ticket, and I want to fly on Air India? Why must a Sri Lankan say that?
The proof of the pudding is in eating. And I would say that in case if once our passengers from this country start flying on Air India, they would see a difference. The perception of Air India, what it used to be earlier, is no longer there. We have the widest choice of destinations which are available once the passenger lands in Delhi. So the passenger from Colombo is not just going to Delhi. He would like to then fly into various interior points in India. People would like to go to Bihar, Patna, to see the Buddhism temple there. I mean, the birth of Buddhism was in that place. So as in Sanchi, where we have huge stupas there. So I would say that a passenger who is using Air India services would have the ability to fly unlimited destinations in the country. And the people who want to go abroad, they have their connections to Europe within 2 hours of their arrival in Delhi.
Why must a person like me travel on Air India? My final question to you.
You would like to travel on Air India because, one, for whatever I have said in the last 10 minutes, it's what you will be able to see on board. We have one of the best services today on board in terms of food, in terms of the beverages, what we serve on board. The cabin crew are all young and fresh. They have been trained in the what do you call the standards, what the Star Airlines would expect each member airlines should carry. So all this would be a good reason for you to fly. And if we take you on time and at your choice of time, then why shouldn't you?
Thank you very much, Mr. Srivastav, for joining us right here on BizFirst in Focus. Pleasure is mine to have you on board today.
Thank you, and Bhoma Stuti.